Alright, so today we're covering lesson 11. We're nearly done with this chapter. We're going to talk about exponents today as we move into multiplying our monomials and polynomials together. It's important to understand exponents first. So we've used our exponents a little bit, but it's going to become really important as you move forward through your math classes. So if you recall, an exponent is a way to indicate repeated multiplication by the same number. So whatever your positive integer is for your exponent, that tells you how many times to multiply that particular number together. So like 3 squared means I would do 3 times itself twice. So that's our first set of exercises. I've already done this one for you. It is meant for you to write it out. What is it actually showing you? 2 to the 4th. Means 2 times itself, a total of 4 times. 5 cubed means 5 times itself, a total of 3 times. However, when it comes to finding the value, we don't have to type it into our calculator this way. We don't need to put 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 because that's just crazy. It takes too long. 2, and then you can do the caret key and put in the 4th to enter, and it'll give you your value. 3 squared, 9, and 5 to the 3rd. So as we move forward, I'm going to start having you practice doing things yourself. I'll ask you to pause the video, try it out, and then... Okay, so I had to pause the video. I have no idea what I was saying, but I'm going to be telling you to pause throughout the video. So you actually need to pause the video when I tell you, try out whatever I tell you to try, and then start it again to check your work and hear what I have to say when you do, because that's the only way you're going to learn. That's the best way for you to learn. So looking at exercise 2. Right, we can do these with numbers, but also with the variables, and it means the exact same thing. So we're going to write it all out, just involving the extended product, how we show what is actually taking place, what multiplying is taking place, and then you also have to consider what sort of order of operations may be involved. So this first one is just x to the cube. So pretty simple. It's just x times itself 3 times. B has x squared y cubed. So I need to do x squared and then continue multiplying it by y to the 4th. So y times itself 4 times. This next one, though, we have to pay attention. It's the whole product 2x being squared, which means that I have to do 2x times 2x. The other way, no, we're just going to stick with that. This next one, 4x to the 4th y cubed. The 4 has no exponent. It just comes down. Then it's being multiplied by x to the 4th, so I need x times itself 4 times. Then it's being multiplied by y cubed, so y times itself 3 times. Next, 9x squared to the 3rd power. That means the whole thing, 9x squared times 9x squared times 9x squared. The other way we could think about how you had to do it is that you would be raising each part of this product to the 3rd power. So you could have written it as 9 to the 3rd and then x squared to the 3rd. And it still would be correct. So that was kind of what I was going to allude to here, and then change my mind. And now we'll take a look at it. And then last, negative 4x cubed to the 3rd power. So again, you can do negative 4x cubed times negative 4x cubed, or negative 4 squared, and then x cubed squared. One of our nice aspects of exponents is that they follow a very, very predictable pattern. There's actual exponent rules that we can follow. So one of our exponent rules happens when you are multiplying things. We're multiplying two numbers both raised to an exponent. We have a special rule for that. So to figure out that rule, what we're first going to do is actually write this out. So x squared is an x times x. And then I need x cubed, which is x times itself 3 times. So what is that really? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times I multiplied an x together. So that is actually x to the 5th. So that's the same thing as x squared, x cubed. So the rule is when you're multiplying two numbers together, you would add the exponents. So if I do part B, x to the 5th times x squared. We're multiplying these numbers together, I can add the exponents. 5 plus 2 means it's x to the 7th. And to check, x to the 5th times x squared. And you can see we've got 7 x's. Alright, so x to the 4th times x to the 4th. Adding our exponents, x to the 8th. And again, to write it out, because the instructions say to, and also to check, x to the 4th times x to the 4th is x to the 8th. Alright, so your pattern, the thing that we just figured out that I already told you, is if I have a number raised to a power times a number raised to the power, if the base is the same, see they both have a base of x, then I can add the exponents, so it becomes x to the 8th plus b. So that's your shortcut. You're going to want to make sure that you remember these because it'll just make your life that much easier. So this time, instead of writing it all out, you're just going to tell me using that rule how you could rewrite it. So pause here, try them all, A, B, and C, and then come back to check. Alright, so A, using our exponent rule, they both have a base of x. So then I can add my exponents, 4 plus 9, 13. B, base of x, which means I can just add them all together. 2 plus 3 plus 4 makes 9. And C, base of y, 2 plus 6 is 8. Pretty easy, right? This time, we're rewriting them as equivalent expressions in the simplest exponential form. So this is where, considering order of operations and everything comes into play. So I have 2x to the 7th times 8x to the 5th. The way you do this is the number times the number. So 2 times 8, 16. Then x to the 7th times x to the 5th. They have that base of x, and now I can use my exponent rules. 7 plus 5 is 12. Next, it's the same thing, number times number. Negative 4 times 2, negative 8. X to the 3rd times x squared. Same base of x, which means I can add my exponents. So it's negative 8x to the 5th. So last, negative 6x cubed to the 2nd power. Means I do negative 6 squared. So paying careful attention here when you go to do something like that in your calculator. You have to put the negative 6 in parentheses before you square it because your calculator automatically does order of operations and it'll give you the wrong answer if you don't. Your other option is to actually type negative 6, hit enter, and then square it. But if you just type negative 6 squared, it'll do 6 squared and then multiply by negative 1, you get the incorrect answer. And then x cubed to the 2nd power. So remember that says x cubed times x cubed. So when we use our exponent rule, it's the same base of x. And then we add our exponents, 3 plus 3 makes 6. That last example actually brings out a whole new rule. So this is called the power to a power rule. that rule shows that when you have a number raised to an exponent being raised to an exponent again, that you actually will multiply the exponent. So our power to a power rule says that what you actually would then do is multiply your exponents. So up here, when we were multiplying our numbers together, we added the exponents. But if you're doing a power raised to a power, you multiply the exponents. So that's your other shortcut. So now for the homework page. It is just like the actual notes page, so you can refer back to what we did, but it is also only the front page, relatively simple, so you are doing it all. See me if you have questions.